and sisters. As we celebrate the Jubilee of the Synodal teams and participatory bodies, we are invited to contemplate and rediscover the mystery of the Church. She is not merely a religious institution, nor is she simply identified with hierarchies and structures. The Second Vatican Council reminds us that the Church is the visible sign of the union between God and humanity, where God intends to bring us all together into one family of brothers and sisters and makes us His people. A people made up of beloved children, all united in the one embrace of His love. Contemplating the mystery of Ecclesial communion, generated and preserved by the Holy Spirit, we can also understand the meaning of synodal teams and participatory bodies. They express what occurs within the Church, where relationships do not respond to the logic of power, but to that of love. The former to recall a constant warning from Pope Francis is a worldly logic, constantly. Conversely, the Christian community are called
Nessuno è chiamato a comandare, tutti sono chiamati a servire. Nessuno deve imporre le proprie idee. Tutti dobbiamo reciprocamente ascoltarci. Nessuno è escluso. Tutti siamo chiamati a partecipare. Nessuno possiede la verità tutta intera. Tutti dobbiamo umilmente cercarla. E cercarla insieme.
No one possesses the whole truth. We must all humbly seek it and seek it together. The very word together expresses us the call to communion. Pope Francis reminds us of this in the final message of Lent, to journey together. The Church is called to walk together, to be synodal. Christians are called to walk at the side of others and never as lone travelers. The Holy Spirit impels us not to remain self-absorbed, but to leave ourselves behind and keep walking towards God and our brothers and sisters. Journeying together means consolidating the unity grounded in our common dignity as children of God. Working together. This is apparently the two characters neglect in the parable we have just heard. Both the Pharisee and the tax collector go to the temple to pray. We could say they go up together, or at least they find themselves together in the same sacred place. Yet they are divided. There is no communication between them. Both take the same path, but they do not walk together. Both are in the temple, but one takes the first place and the other remains behind. Both pray to the Father, but not as brothers and without anything in common. This division depends above all with the Pharisee's attitude. His prayer, though seemingly addressed to God, is addressed only as a mirror in which he looks and justifies and praises himself. As St. Augustine reminds us, he went to pray. He had no mind to pray, but to Lord himself. Feeling superior, he judges the others with contempt and looks down on him. The Pharisee is obsessed with his own ego, and in this way ends up focused on him without having a relationship with either God and others. Brothers and sisters, this can also happen in the Christian community. It happens when the ego prevails over the collective, causing an individualism that prevents authentic and fraternal relationship. It also occurs when they claim to be better than others, as Pharisees does with the tax collector, creating division and turning the community into a judgmental and exclusionary place where one leverages one's role to exert power rather than to serve. We should, however, focus our attention on the tax collector. With the same humility that he showed, we too must recognize within the church that we are all in need of God and of one another, which leads us to the practice reciprocal love, listen to each other, and enjoy working together with others. It is based on this knowledge that Christ belongs to those who are humble, not to those who elevate themselves above others. The synodal teams and participatory bodies are images of the church that live in communion. Please trust me when I tell you that by listening to the Spirit in dialogue, fraternity, and parousia, you will help us understand that prior to any differences in gender or role, we are called in the church to work together in the pursuit of God by putting aside clericalism and vain glory, clothing ourselves with the sentiments of Christ. This will enable us to live with confidence and a new spirit amid the tensions that run through the life of the church between unity and diversity, tradition and novelty, authority and participation. We must allow the Spirit transform the differences so that they do not become ideological contrapositions and harmful polarization. It is not just a question of resolving them by reducing one to the other, but of allowing them to be purified by the Spirit so that they may become harmonized and oriented towards common discernment. As the synodal teams and members of participatory bodies, you know that ecclesial discernment requires interior freedom, humility, prayer, mutual trust, and openness to the new and a surrender to the will of God. It is never just a setting out of one's own personal or group point of view or summing up of the differing individual opinions. Being a synodal church means recognizing the truth is not possessed but sought together, allowing ourselves to be guided by a restless heart in love. Dear friends, we must dream and build a more humble church, a church that does not stand upright like the Pharisees, triumphant and inflated with pride, but one that bends to wash the feet of humanity, a church that does not judge as the Pharisee does to the tax collector, but becomes a welcoming place for all, a church that does not close in on itself, but remains attentive to God so that it can similarly listen to everyone. Let us commit ourselves to building a church that is entirely synodal, ministerial and attracted to Christ, and therefore committed to serving the world. Upon all of us, the church spread throughout the world, I invoke the intercession of the Virgin Mary with the words of the servant of God, Don Tonino Bello, who said, Holy Mary, Mother of Conviviality, nourish in our church the desire for communion. Help them to overcome the internal divisions. Intervene when the demon of discord creeps into their midst. Extinguish the fires of factionalism. Reconcile mutual disputes. Diffuse their rivalries. Stop them when they decide to go their own way, neglecting convergency or common projects. May the Lord grant this grace to be rooted in God's love, so that we may live in communion with one another and be a church, witnesses of unity and of love.